Good afternoon, everybody. Today is June 23rd, 2018, and this is the Sesh. Let's go. All right, what's going on, Fingerboard world? It's Stevie Harkin CK here, aka Steve from Sesh. What's going on? How's everybody doing today? If you saw my embarrassing moment earlier, I started the show 2.5 hours early because I don't know my time zones apparently, or something like that. But we fixed it, and here we are. Here we are at the Sesh. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. Today we have Beef Decks coming on, newer brand. They are super. Their look is super cool. I really like the way the boards look, and when I first noticed them and I started looking at them a couple months ago, I was like, man, this is somebody I would like to have on the show eventually. Once I kind of get a basis for it and I kind of can, start interviewing brands that are up and coming and kind of give them a chance to say what they want to say, and not just only talk to the guys that are at the top of their game. So, that being said, we're going to, instead of doing the usual shout-outs and all the stuff, like talking about what usually happens in the scene at the beginning of the show, we're going to push that till the end because of the fact that I believe he has to go. And I think, hey, Scout, my dog's yawning. Yes. How you doing, Ma? Basically, I think he has to go somewhere. Hang on, let me let her out. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. My dog. I always want to do the show with her in here, but then she starts crying because she's like, "Why aren't you showing me any attention?" But anyways, we're gonna give him a call now because I think he has stuff to do today, and I don't want to hold anybody's time up, but I also want to get as much information from him as possible. So we're gonna hop right into it immediately and give him a call on Skype. Not our usual Discord, sadly. Hopefully Discord hollers at us eventually. But we're gonna give him a call right now. Turn this down a little bit.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Dude, no problem. How's your day been so far?
Just a typical Saturday. So it's all going good.
Oh, there you go. Saturdays can be very critical.
Yeah.
Very critical to your mental state when you've been working all week and dealing with stuff like that.
Exactly.
So basically, like I always start the show, you want to go ahead and start telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Beef and kind of how you guys got started.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, fingerboarding has kind of been one of those hobbies that never really goes away. Started
Exactly.
probably 5th, 6th grade. I'm a junior in college now, so it's
Okay,
kind
cool.
of just always been there, even doing other things. And this past winter break, me and a couple of my friends drove up to LA because I'm based down in San Diego
Okay.
for a fingerboard event. And I was like, wow, these have progressed a lot since 5th grade. I definitely could probably make these. So just started out with doing tons and tons of research, getting things involved,
Right.
getting support from everybody, starting up the Instagram, taking just my graphic design knowledge, kind of starting all that out, getting some molds, getting some wood, and then just having my whole scheme of beef decks is to really just donate back to the community rather than just fully profiting. Just rather do it for fun, not for the money.
Right.
Just because I've had so many family members, friends affected by different cancers or different things that I can definitely help out with. So that was just kind of where it all started. Just seeing a need for a new company in here, kind of trying to give back because I hadn't seen anybody else do that. So that's where we stand now.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna comment on that. I saw when I was first researching your company and looking at your page that you guys donate 10% of your pretty much all your proceeds to cancer research. And my mom's actually a survivor of stage 4 cancer, so I really appreciate that. And basically giving back to the community really means a lot from the guys everywhere. So from the fingerboarding community, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the story. I mean, kids message me all the time. Yo, my dad has this cancer. You really changed my life by helping out with the deck. And I'm just like, whoa, that's game changing for me. It's like, wow, this actually does mean something to people. So that's just what kind of keeps me going.
Exactly, dude. That's the basis of it. Even though there is money to be made, it is like a growing process and like a love process in the very beginning, and like basically there's
Exactly.
always trials. So people are at like on the other end of like not maybe being involved in the market or the scene of it. Really should understand at the basis of it, it is kind of like a work of love. But
Exactly.
going off that, I saw like your page kind of started more towards February, so you guys are kind of newer to this year and stuff. And you said you started
Yes.
basically like you got re-inspired by an event. Were there any big inspirations that you saw like maybe at the event or like when you first got home and started looking on Instagram or wherever it may have been that kind of was like, ooh, I like the way this looks. I kind of want to like this is what's kind of pushing me to kind of go that direction with what I want the design to look like.
Yeah, first off, just being at the event, seeing like everybody just genuinely happy while fingerboarding was like, yo, that like put me back into that mindset. Like, wow, this does bring a lot of joy. It brought me joy. It's still bringing people joy. Like, I want to get back into this. And for like the way my graphics go and those styles go, it's kind of just, I kind of just sit down with some music, open up Photoshop, kind of just try to do my own thing, try to stand out with the brighter, the
Right.
pinks, the blues, the yellows, the pink colors, because a lot of the other companies' graphics are amazing, but I just want to definitely have my own style so that if you're at an event or I see your video on Instagram, like that's my stuff, people can start recognizing it. Um, Trying to just get that publicity out there with other people recognizing my products as well.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that your decks kind of like have this super newer like appeal look to them with the color schemes and kind of the designs patterns and like even like some of your early designs kind of have like that almost like lo-fi like kind of like
Yeah,
new wave kind of feel to it. And I kind of like how you were like I want to try and do something that maybe people haven't done and put a graphic that's kind of more relevant to our generation on a board and like make it kind of like that kind of like comparison.
exactly.
That first release you did, what was kind of the inspiration behind it? I know we kind of talked, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but where was your mindset at when you were kind of developing your first couple boards?
Well, so I just was working on graphics before I'd even started making decks, and I was like, just kind of getting designs going, kind of trying to figure out my style, get used to
Right.
Photoshop, get used to all those things. And like, I would send all my graphics to my friends and be like, tell me which one you like the best, send them to my family, send them to everybody. And they're like, definitely this one, definitely this one. And that's what started out with the Who graphic, which is kind of what started all of Beef Decks really was that graphic because it truly stood out. More of an abstract design compared to like some of my newer ones. And people really just recognized that because it hadn't been like anything before. And that's kind of what started it. So that was the very first stock was just a bunch of Who graphics, and from there it's just grown and grown and grown.
Yeah, dude, they're like this the aesthetic of them is super nice. Now, when you were like experimenting with molds and like kind of experimenting with where you wanted to go, did you kind of have any other ideas, or did you know from the beginning that you wanted to make decks, like decks specifically?
Um, as a kid, I would make fingerboard parks just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Never obviously turned out as clean as a Black River ramp. Now I've experimented with stuff, trying to probably bring some newer products to the table here soon. That's all in the works. But basically, I was like, decks have gotten really expensive in fingerboarding. I remember as a kid, they were just not nearly as expensive, and I was like, well, if I'm going to be doing this for the community, there's no way I should be charging like an absurd amount of money.
Right.
So it was kind of just I found that need and was like I can try to fill that spot. So that was the whole goal of that.
Awesome, dude. And I'm sure the younger guys especially appreciate that. I feel like a lot of the newer companies that like, they put there's passion behind it and all the decks are really well made. But they kind of put that it's almost like an invisible wall of having kind of like younger writers and people that maybe don't have like a reach to a job or kind of what I mean, have to
Exactly.
reach for
Yeah.
their stuff. So it's kind of like an invisible wall of like who can ride your decks or stuff like that, or they
Uh
get it
huh.
through like some trade or something like that. And I think like guys that realize that like even though like I want to make a quality deck and I have to be specifically like angled and like I want this to be a really well made board. I still want anyone to be able to ride it, and I think that's kind of like the basis of where the community kind of falters, and you kind of staying true to that is very critical. Um, I wanted to also ask you with beef decks and like what was the like origin behind the name behind it, and is there kind of like I see that you have the cow and things like that. Was there like a specific like style of why you went with that?
Yeah, that's so funny. So tons of people ask me that question all the time. And basically, I go to the gym a lot, I exercise a lot, so I'm eating a lot of protein, chicken, beef. And one day I was kind of just sitting uh in my kitchen
Right.
eating, and I was eating a hamburger. This was kind of when I was like kind of drawing up some designs, kind of figuring out some ideas, kind of trying to get ideas for the name for the company.
Nice.
And I wanted something that was just simple and people could just like kind of remember. And kind of beef text just stuck. And I had that idea, the graphic of the cow head on a human body. So that's kind of just where it all started was just right there in my kitchen.
Nice, dude, and it gives it this. It kind of goes perfect with your abstract art look, like just the whole
Yeah,
look of your page. I feel like a lot of companies when they first start, there's kind of that point of like, okay, where's my art direction going?
yeah,
But you kind of like, I wouldn't say lucked out because it kind of fell into place almost, and like you had a general design feel for it. So it's like the fact that you found it so early is like the reason why I kind of was drawn to like wanting you on the show is because finding people that immediately know their lane and market themselves like correctly. I feel like that's like such a critical piece of like deciphering how quickly the lifespan of your company will be shown, because you can see within like the first couple of months of how well a brand will do depending on like the creator, and the person behind it. And I was just always like, every post you made about like all the decks that you've come out with have always been like, oh, this is still something different, even though I can still tell this is his style of board.
yeah,
um, Now I also see that you kind of have like this open-ended, like, because every company, of course, is going to be asked by a billion kids,
yeah.
are you sponsoring? And also, you're getting
Uh-huh.
a bunch of love in the chat as well. So everybody that's coming in and tuning in live, Beef Decks, we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
But I see that like you have like a sponsorship question mark, open-ended, like this is how you do it. Did you guys end up finding any teammates or team members, or do you have people that you specifically like send product to, or like kind of really like niche with, that you consider like your testers or something like that?
Yeah, so basically, I remember when I was like first kind of getting back into it a couple months ago, I would message companies, some of the bigger companies, and never hear a response back.
I trust me,
And
I know
so
that.
and so I was like, why is that? Like why don't people communicate? And so I answer every single DM that anybody ever sends me. And so with the whole sponsorship thing, I every company says no, we're not sponsoring, don't even send me stuff. Well, a lot of these kids definitely want their stuff to be looked at, and it's hard for them to get a growing audience, and I know how difficult that can be.
Right.
So just opening my page up as a place for people to send me their footage. People send me what their decks are going to look like that are trying to make companies. I'm always giving feedback, always throwing people likes if they're tagging me in their stuff. I just want to be like more transparent as a company and just being able to like really look at other people's stuff as well as have people look at my stuff.
Basically,
So
you try to show the love back. He's trying to
yeah,
reciprocate people, so he's not just hiding behind the brand, and that's all he does. So that's really a, like, that's critical. It's concrete for our scene. That, and it's like, with the younger kids, it pushes them to keep doing better tricks. When the
well, yeah,
companies,
exactly.
they appreciate a responding. So I really appreciate that too. I respond. I personally believe that you should respond to every DM, no matter how stupid it is, because
Yeah.
this is somebody that like worked up the courage to be like, yo.
Well, exactly. I mean, it can be definitely nerve-wracking. And your other
Exactly.
question about team riders, I do have two team riders that are absolutely amazing. I have Suppy FB,
Oh, that's
who
the
has
man.
been supporting me from literally day one, from when I started the company, and my boy Marge 3P on Instagram. Insane talent for his age. He was the first rider I sponsored. He was super legit. Continues to post amazing content. Both those guys, I send stuff out. I tell them all the insider stuff before I even post it on Instagram. So I have some stuff in the works as we're speaking, but
Ooh,
they're the only ones that know about it as of now. So kind of
awesome.
they're my go-to guys. Yeah,
Gotta have that the close knit team. Gotta
yeah.
gotta send the product to the right people so you're getting the right feedback. Now, how did you fall into contacts with these people? Now, Suppy is actually, I really appreciate him. He's a very active member in the community, so I could see how he could stumble up on your doorstep. But
Yeah.
how did you kind of get in like contact? You don't have to get into too much detail, but how did you kind of link up with those guys and decide, what, these are the guys, support me since day one. These are the guys I want to back.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I would either reach out to them, they would reach out to me. We would just continuously talk on a daily basis. Suppy improves literally every single video he posts. He was tagging
Yes,
me
this
from
is
the
true.
beginning. Marge 3P, I actually went to him and I was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a sponsored writer?" He's like, "No, not really." So we kind of talked, and I was like, "Hey, I want to make see your content over the next couple weeks, and we'll go from there." And that's kind of what I do with everybody is people message me, "Hey, can you sponsor me?" And I'm like, "Hey, continue to just tag me in your stuff all the time. Stand out, be unique. I'm not looking for somebody that's like everybody else.
Right.
I want you to be yourself, which is what both these writers have definitely been. So it's been nothing but perfection from them.
That's awesome, actually. Like having that immediate, it's a very natural feel to how even though you're kind of accepting the whole open DM thing, you're
Yeah,
making it more of a natural feel, and I feel like that's something that has to be done. Like when you want a real job in real life, you don't just sit there and wait for someone to come up and go, "Hey, you're hired." You know what I mean? You
yeah,
kind of have to
exactly.
put in your resume. You got to show a little
Yeah, you got to
interest.
work for it.
Exactly. So I think that new idea of like tag me in your stuff that you guys are doing, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sure the kids do too, and all well not just kids, but all the amateur writers coming up, and that's kind of why I wanted to angle in, and I wanted to talk about Suppy too because I'm gonna have him come on the show, and I wanted to focus in
Perfect.
on the guys that maybe have one sponsor, no sponsors that are actually like improving and coming up as writers, as
Yeah.
like an amateur series, and it's just like. Do you feel like as a company maker or as like a board maker and someone who's actually reaching to advertise, do you feel like growing with your writers is like a more beneficial move than let's say sponsoring someone that already has kind of like a fixed community already? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, having a writer that is all about your product and is just in love with it and is willing to promote that to the best of their ability is what I'm all about. I'm not looking for writers with 8, 10,000 followers getting 20,000 views. Like it's all about personality, uniqueness. I have to vibe with them. They have to vibe with me. If they don't like my
Right.
stuff, they don't like my stuff. Um, and so I don't ever pressure anybody in when I'm asking them if they would like to ride for the team. Suppy and I talked for months and months and months, and I was like, you know what, he's the man. Let's give him a spot on the team. Um, he he before I had even sponsored him, he was shouting me out before every stock, all of that, just giving me all the love possible. So very thankful for that.
That's awesome. You found somebody that like linked up with your product right away. Now,
Exactly.
moving on from your team and stuff like that, do you see yourself in the like how do you kind of like produce your content in the sense of not just like with the teammates producing like video clips and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but with your advertisement, your Instagram feel, like what was your kind of goal or what are your goals before you post or like put up a new stock or decide that like this is how I'm going to take the pictures of the decks before I post it?
Yeah.
Is there kind of like a certain feel or a certain time or like a certain like I guess you could say habitual way that you kind of get ready for a drop or like announcing something?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to give people at least a week heads up before I do a stock so they can kind of get it in the back of their mind that it's coming up. Because some people are always like, "Oh, I missed out. I didn't see it." So I try to give as many posts that following week before a stock comes around.
Right.
And I definitely try to stick to the same time schedule for stocks. So I usually do Saturdays or Sundays at 10 a.m. It seems like because I go to school on the East Coast and then I come back here on the West Coast, so it's kind of a reasonable time for everybody.
Right.
But that's kind of the goal. And trying to with my Instagram, I kind of try to make the photos everyone unique, not the same. It doesn't look the same post. Even if I'm taking pictures of the same decks, I want it to have a new, fresh vibe, colorful. So when you're scrolling through your feed, you can be like, "Oh, that's definitely a Beef Decks post." Kind of just have it stick out in your mind.
Yeah, right, exactly. Just kind of giving it like a different, like repackaging it so people can see the different ways that can
Exactly.
look. Yeah, sometimes you gotta have different textures behind it. That's real
Yeah.
advertisement.
Yeah. Fully.
All right, and then also one question I love to ask business owners and people who own brands, and of course you're not pressured to answer it if you don't want to. But do you have anything that you're working on right now, or have any stocks or like hidden stuff? I know you just recently dropped the stock, but do you have any stuff that you kind of been working on and got kind of hidden behind the wraps that you'd like to reveal on like something like this?
Yeah, earlier this or coming this week, I'll be making a post, but I'll let you guys hear first. I have a new
A
mold in the works. Um,
new
so
mold.
that is definitely going to be cool. It's going to be something that is new to beef decks. Considering my past molds have been usually low concave, medium kicks. This one's going to be absolutely polar opposite of that. Something that's going to just be wicked fun. That way, there's kind of something for everybody is what
Right,
I'm
kind of
kind of
spreading
going
out.
for. I always have new graphics in the works. I have graphics saved up for months before I even release them sometimes. So whenever I get the chance, I'm always designing, tinkering, practicing, perfecting. That's kind of the goal of this company, is to just bring a perfect product at a perfect price for everybody.
Awesome, dude. That's really cool, and I really appreciate you letting us know. And like I said, I think that's really critical to people that are making boards. Is like, yeah, you can find that like little niche board that everybody seems to order and love the most, but I
Yeah,
think adding that like polar opposite, or that one thing that might not be so true to your brand, or like the first deck that you made are like sold, I think that kind of brings like a fresh audience and can give people more of a like a wider reach. So I don't understand why you wouldn't. But
exactly.
uh, like with that new deck and all the stuff that you got coming out, and you've been doing a lot of drops, um, do you feel like it's easy? Like, will you be able to keep this consistency? Because like I'm in college too right now, so sometimes the sesh kind of slows down when I'm doing school.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be able to keep the consistency throughout the school year, or do you find that you're gonna have to do some prep work before you kind of head back to do your junior year?
Yeah, I mean, things definitely slow down when times get busy, but I'm always feeding the molds every day, taking decks in, taking decks out. Even if I don't sand them that day, sometimes you get caught up and I'll have 20, 30 decks to sand, but that's what
I
I love
got
to do. So
you. No,
kind
I
of
feel
just
you on that.
always feeding the mold is kind of the goal. Always making decks, even if if I'm not going to be doing a stock. That way, because I usually try to do a stock about every 2 weeks, because the DMs just get flooded instantly after they sell out. So it's like I gotta pump. I can't even keep up with these people anymore. The support's just been insane.
That's awesome. That's good though. Like like you said, you're feeding the mold, keeping the wheel turning. Sometimes I feel that I haven't put up enough of like I'll let some of the episodes pile up before I put them on the page, and people are like, oh, where's the episode you recorded like 2 days ago? And I'm like, well, shit, let me get on
Yeah,
this. Sometimes you gotta put it to the grinder. But
yeah, exactly.
all right. Well, transitioning from that, we're kind of reaching. We're almost at 35 minutes, and I know we're kind of like on a you got stuff to do today, and I totally understand. I actually have work tonight. But I want to ask you two questions that I ask everybody. First question is, where is the do you consider yourself like comfortable with the direction and the art style, and like do you consider yourself like, I wouldn't say comfortable or like gonna say stable, because there's always room for growth in the sense of how much you're known, or like your marketing and stuff like that. Are you kind of like like satisfied with where the look and everything with beef is like right now?
Yeah, I mean, the artwork that I've been doing, I'm definitely been proud of, especially for this summer line. The last couple graphics I've been just in love with, but I would never say comfortable because I'm always trying to find room for improvement. Always
Right.
testing new graphic methods, always trying new woods, always trying new glues, always trying new things to make the decks the best possible. So I never try to get stuck in the same path. I definitely am looking forward to in the future to see what type of graphics I pump out. Probably stuff that's going to be new, definitely like a new style. But you'll always be able to tell. With my goal in my mind is always be able to tell that it's a beef deck some way or another based on the style that I've been making decks in the past.
Awesome. And that kind of tapers into that, what you just said tapers into my next question. But this is the question I always ask everybody, and the last one is kind of a variant depending on it, whether you're what you make or if you're a writer. But this one is, when you're done with fingerboarding, and you guys are a newer company, so when I have you on the show again in the future after you've grown even
Yes.
bigger than you are now, I'll ask you this again, of course. But
Yeah.
at the end of beef decks, or at the end of your fingerboarding career, you're transitioning out, whether whether you had to graduate at college and you got to focus on your career or whatever. What is the lasting impression you want to have beef decks leave, and like what is the impression you want to leave on the community with your brand?
That definitely anybody, even if it's only one person, smiled when they unboxed that deck from the mailing envelope. Because I remember as a kid, I would sit out on my doorstep just waiting for the mailman to come if I would order something. And
Yeah.
I have some younger kids that send me literally like as their decks are supposed to arrive, pictures of them sitting on their doorsteps waiting for their decks to arrive. So that just kind of throws it way back to from when I was that age.
Exactly.
And so a lasting impression I would want to have is this guy made great decks, but not just decks, is that he helped out the community further than any other company did, not just through the donations, but with the prices and with always responding everybody, just being an open ear for people that are always wanting to ask questions or just wanting somebody to talk to. I'm always there for.
That's awesome, man. And like I said, you're a new company. This is kind of like a quick interview, and I wanted to get you on because I wanted to grab you before you like skyrocket into, your branding and stuff like that. But I will have you on again. I want to talk to you in a couple months when you've kind of, we'll see where you're at. We'll do an update check,
Yes,
and I
most
got some
definitely.
ideas with some brands that I want to kind of, because reaching out with brands and things like that is kind of like a funny thing to me. So I got this new idea that I want to do with like random brands that I can have on and do like a round table, but that's for later. But I would love to have you back on. I'd love to have you come back on and talk basically like about future stuff that you got coming on. But this is kind of your time right here at the end of the show to talk about anybody that you want to like shout out, or basically just talk about anything that you got coming out or like stuff like that. So you can go ahead and have the time.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I definitely shout out my family for putting up with the noise of drill presses, belt sanders, the
Yeah.
dust. I mean, I started this company in my dorm room sophomore year of college. So my roommates, they were all there. I would let them play with the decks, try them out, test them. Something goes wrong, I'm like, try to snap this, see if it's strong enough. All those things. So they put up with the noise. All my friends put up with the noise. All my friends put up with the constant Instagram posts because they're always following me. So definitely all the people, and even on Instagram, everybody that's ever messaged me, even if you're just sending me a clip, even if it's hate, thank you for just responding to me and communicating with me and just making me feel welcome in this community since I'm newer. And so I'm definitely looking forward to the future and where this company leads. Hopefully big things, hopefully better things.
Of course, of
And I
course.
definitely know it will. So that's about it.
Dude, man, thank you so much, man. Like, I'm super happy that I had got you to come on right now. Like I said, like there's a lot of people, like there's a lot of hype behind your brand, and like your following is growing like every day. You're like almost at your 2K coming up soon, so I'm really excited to see with your next drops and that stuff is coming out, the success that you guys are gonna have. But like I said, can't wait to have you back on the show, my guy. I will let you get out of here.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Have a good one.
Oh, yeah, you too. Appreciate it.
Bye bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ben from Beef Dicks. Where's the beef? Gotta get it. Gotta have it. That's incredible, man. It's such like an up and coming brand that cares about the community. It's critical that you support brands like this. It's critical. Like if you do not, like, I'm not saying like that you have to support every brand that's gonna give you a high five, or every brand that's gonna like tell you, oh, thank you for supporting me, and like is nice. But the guys that are taking that extra step, he's donating, he's openly stating that he like his DMs are open for you. When you see companies that are coming out, and it's not like he doesn't have a following, his DM, like he's almost at 2K, I know his DMs are full because I only have about 300 and some followers, and every day I'm opening up to 6 or 7 DMs of like full stuff that I gotta answer. So I'm sure he's probably triple that. So you really gotta understand, like, the people that do this stuff, it's like it's from their heart, and you gotta really appreciate the guys that are coming in strong because he marketed himself the right way. He's got the look. Just make sure you like support the companies that give a shit about you, because that's like the basis of the market. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on in the fingerboarding world. I'm kind of like out of the loop because of the fact that I know Tricky's got like a bunch of new stuff coming out. Tricky FB, like a new board. I think a new board look. And then basically everybody's putting up clips for Fingerboard NYC's video that he's got coming out. So definitely keep an eye out for that. That shit's gonna be a banger. I know everybody's got like their hand in that. So that shit is gonna be awesome. Five Luck. I know he's got some shit dropping soon. And then there was one more big one. I can't remember. Is it Eminent? Yeah, Eminent's got a concrete ledge out right now, and it looks super good. It's got like a real natural look to it. Finally, though, I wanted to say a little like personal gloat. I was mentioned on Black River Ramps today, the official Black River Ramps page. I was tagged on their post because they reposted Chris Daniels' interview with me and how he got on paper as well. And he kind of made a post about us and appreciating us for interviewing him and stuff. And then we got a motherfucking repost, guys. That's nuts. That's so crazy. I can't believe that, like, the shit that happens, like, when you actually, like, fucking put your mind to it and shit. So don't ever, like, not do that. Like, if you have an idea and you want to do it in fingerboarding, definitely do that shit. Definitely do that shit. fucking, because I totally thought that the sesh was gonna be something that I would work on for like 2 weeks and then people would hate it and not want to be involved in it. And now like I'm interviewing the people that inspired me in fingerboarding and shit like that. So fucking definitely do anything that you want to do in fucking fingerboarding. If you feel like you have a good idea, if you feel like you're kind of like a productive person and you kind of have like a specific, I guess, like a new idea, and it can really improve or like kind of solidify what you do. Like I always have been like, I just like to bring information to people. So I brought my what I'm good at to fingerboarding, and it kind of is appreciating me back. So I think everybody that's kind of like fucking helped me out and like gotten me to this point. So yeah, appreciate it, much appreciated. Fuck yeah. Other than that though, that's a sesh, man. I'm done for the day. I don't have anything else to talk about. Make sure you follow me at from Stevie from the Sesh, Stevie from the Sesh on Instagram. The website stevieharkins.com slash the dash sesh is the new web page. It's no longer just a Wix page. We kind of like bought the domain, so we have that whole thing to ourselves now. Fooky Bookie, what's up, dude? Fucking hell yeah, dude. But yeah, other than that though, I think we're good. I think that's all we got for today. I gotta go to work. I mean later, but I think I'm gonna play League and then I'm gonna go to work. So I'll holler at you guys. Let me kick some tunes and we'll get the fuck out of here. Yeah, let me pump this. Bye bye, guys. Have a good one.